And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Stables Media. I'm Taylor Phillips along with Ed Smith and Frank Vasner. My opening statement, it all comes down to the game between the Wolverines and Buckeyes. Plus, we witnessed a wild brawl between the Pistons and Lakers, but only between two players, though, while the others were restraining them, Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James. And we'll tell you how it started, plus the Lions still being the Lions, still staying winless and keeping their draft stock really clean and good. Ed, what is your opening statement?
I would give the opening statement for this week from what I saw. It'll be a message of feeling thankful. Thankful that the Michigan Wolverines have somehow brought their season back to the brink of where everything is on the line for this one game. Thankful for the Red Wings and the Pistons making their developments on their teams. And thankful for the Tigers for at least trying to make some noise in free agency. Anything other than talking about how the Lions played today, but we have no choice, unfortunately.
Right, I know. Hey, that's what we do here at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Frank, what is your opening statement?
My opening statement is going to preface the following. One, Michigan now has a chance to win against Ohio State and go to Indy, but they got to take care of business. The Pistons, I've got a lot to say about the brawl, but I'm going to wait and choose my words carefully on that. The Lions, look, Dan Campbell says that he wants to have some fight in the team, but I'm not so sure he's serious about that after some surrender kicking and running plays in the game today against the Cleveland Browns.
Not to mention mental mistakes soon. We'll get them too. Plus the Red Wings, even Michigan State, of course, their game against Penn State upcoming after that drubbing in Columbus. But before we begin, this show is sponsored by the Viget Sports mobile app where great fans cover. Use the hashtag GreatFansCover to support the Viget Sports mobile app. Download it on your phone from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Sign up and type in the referral code STABLES with a capital S and the rest of the letters being lowercase, including the letter B in the middle, as in billionaire, for Stables Media. Also, a shout out to Cali Tickets. Visit CaliTickets.com or call 877-225-8425. That's 877-225-8425 to purchase a ticket to one of their featured events. Now, let's get to the Pistons-Lakers brawl first. Now, Jeremy Grant hit a free throw, nothing but net. LeBron James was struggling with Isaiah Stewart. He elbows Isaiah Stewart accidentally, but then he viciously swats Isaiah Stewart in the face with his bare hand. LeBron did with his bare left hand. And then Isaiah Stewart took exception, went after him, and all hell broke loose. And Isaiah Stewart just kept going after him and going after him. And Isaiah Stewart was bleeding a lot right in the face. And not only did he get ejected along with LeBron James, Isaiah Stewart really had to get taken a look at as well. But there was no winner in that situation. Lakers won that game, by the way, 121-116. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. The Pistons still have 4 wins. They got their fourth win last week, but tonight, man, it was a wild game. It was a slugfest, but the Pistons led by as many as 10. But that brawl, yeah, no winner in that situation. We'll start with Ed, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, you found that on the brawl. You found that as a meme on Twitter with with the Jim Ross commentary with Jerry the King Lawler with announcing Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I caught the footage live on Bally Sports Detroit with George Blaha and Greg Kelser calling the action, and George Blaha was shocked and surprised and like angry at how LeBron James viciously attacked Isaiah Stewart at the left baseline near the post. And this is something that's not acceptable, no matter what
No, it's
level
not. It's not.
in the sport of basketball it is.
no matter what level of notoriety or status or who you are in this league, something like that should not be seen as acceptable. I don't care if you're LeBron James, if you're Michael Jordan, if you're Kobe Bryant or Isaiah Thomas, whoever, Shaquille O'Neal, whoever. Like there's certain plays and stuff like that where you should have no doubt be able to face the consequences for. We're in the day and age now to where everybody can clearly see what happened, how it happened, who did what, and where and why. And in terms of the ramifications of that play, that moment, and everything else that surrounded it, let's get this straight out of the way. LeBron James should be suspended, and I say this as the biggest LeBron James defender, fan, mark, whatever you want to call it. I'm Team LeBron all the way, but I can acknowledge he was in the wrong in that situation. Isaiah Stewart, I have no problem with him expressing himself. I think he had every right to be feeling that way. You saw the look on his face. First of all, just look at his face, period, with all that blood pouring out of him.
I
And
saw it
I gotta
live.
admit, the way he showcased himself and expressed himself, um, something like that can endear yourself to a city, can generate a certain portion of the fan base that wants to see, you know, if you want to call it toughness or some type of picture or narrative of how you want your perceived outward appearance to be, but something like that, something that says about your character or your drive or your passion or your effort or work ethic to want to get the fans to get on your side, to endear you to that sort of thing. I think we saw that tonight with Isaiah Stewart because no, he did. He got bloodied up, but guess what? He was ready to throw down with whoever was on the opposite side of him. Okay, he wanted all the smoke with LeBron. He wanted all the smoke with Anthony Davis. He wanted all the smoke with Russell Westbrook. He did not care. Dude wanted to throw hands with the entire Lakers team. And you know what? Something like that. If I'm a teammate of his, I'd be feeling fired up. Be wanting to play with him every night for sure. Something like that can help grow you together as a team. That can help spur fan support. And I gotta say, Cade Cunningham, poor Cade. You talk about welcome to the NBA. First, he had to fend off and literally hold back Isaiah Stewart from running over there, from trying to kill LeBron James or frankly kill whoever was in his path. And then he still has to shake it off, go back playing. By the way, got his first career triple double tonight, by the way, worth noting. And then it gets capped off by another welcome to the NBA moment by getting his lunch stolen by Anthony Davis. So not a good night, a learning night, or I would say a great night, but still lots to learn for Cade's perspective. And frankly, if you're the Pistons, I got to say this, between this game and the Warriors game the other night, that's now two straight games where late, at the very end of the fourth quarter, you had the ball, you need a 3-point to tie, and the play you call out of the timeout does not involve Cade Cunningham. Like, forget about Cade not touching the basketball or not shooting the basketball. You're not even throwing him the basketball in that situation, which I find puzzling because this is your number one draft pick. This is your face of the franchise, the guy you want to build everything on for the next decade, hopefully, for him to lead your team. At some point, if you want him to be that guy for your team and for your franchise, he's got to get moments in situations like this. Give him the ball with a chance to shoot with Ty or take the lead. Let him get that experience. Let him get those reps in, so to speak. Because let's face it, these little games in November or December or whatever it is coming up, it's not going to matter with us whether or not we vie for an 8th seed or a spot in the play-in come April or May. Because guess what? This team is not that good. We have seen that now throughout a month. They're likely not going to make the playoffs. They're probably more than likely playing for another spot in the lottery next year. So while you know that, let Cade get his moments in and his experiences and his touches in spots like this. Because if he's not going to be able to learn how to do it, get these moments in now, how else is he going to learn how to do that? So I think that's 2 games in a row now. You should have done something, at least one of those, where Cade gets the ball in at least one of those spots or occurrences. But hey, I'm not the one in charge of the team. I'm not the one calling the plays. So, um, not a good end to the week games, considering that you started off well with a great win against the Pacers. Cade showing his improvement game by game, but not a good way to finish it when you consider the fact that, yeah, you played the Warriors tough, you played the Lakers tough, two of the teams in the West that was seen as title favorites, at least coming into this season. The Warriors have been phenomenal. The Lakers, they've been in free fall, so maybe this was the kind of thing they needed to get their season kick-started, but still missed opportunities if you're the Pistons, but growing steps and development games for the young talent that you have here. So you got to play and you got to learn.
Yep, got to learn. And Dwayne Casey, was Cade Cunningham even on the court?
Kate?
No? Yes? Oh, Ed, you're muted.
Sorry, his phone's acting stupid. But yes, Cade was on the court, but for some reason the play was not designed for the ball to go home. You saw Diallo, for some reason, try to throw it across his back to Sadiq Bey in the corner, which was, of course, scouted out and swiped away by Anthony Davis. I don't know what the hell Diallo was thinking on that play. I don't know. He looked lost. He looked completely out of himself. I don't know why. Instead of just keep it simple, draw it up for Cade or Grant. Because I get it. You don't have three-point shooting on this team, but you have scores on this team. You have guys that know how to put up a shot. You mean to tell me you can't trust Cade Cunningham to put up a three-pointer with 5 seconds left to go to tie the game? Come on, man. You got to do better than that.
Yeah, either get the ball to Cade or Jeremy Grant. He can hit threes too, but not getting either Cade.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Grant had 30. Right, Grant had 36 points tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't trust him to put up a game-tying shot.
Yeah, not getting him the ball is one thing, but turning the ball over like that is another, which made it even worse. I can hear echoes.
Yeah, and they had their fair share of turnovers too. That's what led to them blowing that 15-point lead in the first place. Not taking care of the ball, not being smart. Meaningful possessions late in the game like that, and Cade is, he had his fair share of turnovers as well. So it wasn't perfect by any stretch of imagination. Yes, there's still growing pains, there's still development steps to be learned and taken. Yes, but that's the part of a rebuild or a restoration project where, yeah, it's not everything you want done in one night or in one fell swoop, but you want to see at least the little signs of improvement along the way. I think tonight was just missed opportunity, but we'll see whenever they get that chance how they manage to improve on how to do better in that moment.
Yeah, but that is on Dwayne Casey. Sorry, I have to mute because I have to. I can hear myself in echoes here, but anyway, but that's on Dwayne Casey to formulate the game plan to either get the ball to Cade Cunningham or Jeremy Grant to tie it with a 3-bomb and tie it up at 119. But Dwayne Casey did not do that. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but still not a good decision by Dwayne Casey or of not thinking of getting the ball to to Cade Cunningham. But still, it was a really good game, but again, gotta have good decisions in situations like that. Let Cade learn or get the ball to Jeremy Grant, one of the two. Cade Cunningham had a triple-double, and Jeremy Grant still doing his thing. So, Frank, we're going to turn it over to you. So, any thoughts on the brawl and the game?
Ooh, man. There's a lot of ways I can go with this. And of course, I'm kind of in the same boat with Ed in terms of LeBron James. Look, I have tried to stick up for LeBron a lot. I've tried to defend him where he belongs at in terms of the all-time greats, hates, and I think he's done a good job with his stand on human rights in some areas. But your actions tonight, LeBron, I'm sorry. I cannot defend you for taking a cheap shot at Isaiah Stewart like that. You should be suspended, and for a long time as well, given the fact that you almost knocked the guy's eye out. However, as for Isaiah Stewart, I happen to hear that he was trying to basically knock over coaches and everybody in the hallway after he got taken off the floor, let alone what he did afterwards. And, props to Cade Cunningham for at least trying to hold him back and step up and say, hey, man, it's not worth it. You don't need to wreck your career in the process. But the fact that Stewart acted the way he did, and look, I'm not going to fault him for being pissed off about almost losing his eye and getting bloodied up. I would be pissed off too. But you know what? That doesn't excuse your actions. You go and act like you're going to go and practically kill LeBron and whoever gets in your way. That doesn't fly here. And hopefully Adam Silver nuts up and sends a message to both players, says, hey, guys, this garbage will not be tolerated anymore here on out. And quite frankly, I think Isaiah Stewart needs some counseling with anger management because it's clear that he's got a temper. And I'm not saying that just because I don't like him. I do like him as a player. I think he's talented. But, young man, you got to learn, control your emotions on the court. Because what if you go off and do something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life? And this is already going to be a black mark on your career as well. So, I'm expecting, at a bare minimum, 5 games handed down. I don't really know what's going to happen to LeBron. I've heard people say that he's going to get less just because of who he is. And also, one more thing. To the people on Twitter demanding accountability for LeBron, but praising Isaiah Stewart for what he did, you're the problem here. Both players need to be held accountable. There are no winners in this. Whether for what LeBron did or even Isaiah Stewart for going on what I believe was a kamikaze mission just to get his pound of flesh, but this needs to be dealt with. There's no joy to be taken from this at all, period, end of story. As for what happened during the game, why is Cade not taking the last shot? He's your franchise player. You got to drop a play for him, Dwayne Casey. Him or Jeremy Grant. You can't be letting Sadiq Bey take the last shot. Nothing against Sadiq, but your best player's got to make plays. Plain and simple.
Yep. And Cade Cunningham, again, like I mentioned before, had a triple-double. And Jeremy Grant, of course, still had another one of his best games. Jeremy Grant hitting free throws. He's a good shooter. Cade Cunningham's a good shooter too. Get either one of those guys the ball, please, in that final play to try to tie it up with a 3-bomb. Still, that's on Dwayne Casey. He did not think of it. He did not prepare enough, of course, and that's still on him. So I'm already starting not to trust Dwayne Casey as head coach. Not only does he whine at the refs about bad calls or calls not going the Pistons' way, one of the two, but he doesn't develop his players. He doesn't push them in high leverage situations. So that's Pistons. The Tigers, they have signed left-handed starting pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez from the Boston Red Sox to a 5-year, $77 million contract. And we apologize for the technical difficulties, by the way. I'm hearing echoing from both me and Frank. But anyway, we apologize for the technical difficulties. So we're going to get into it with a What's Your Grade segment. Ed, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, what is your grade on Eduardo Rodriguez? Yep, go ahead. Yep. Okay.
Okay, if I were to give this a grade, I would say a good B, probably close to a B plus. It's nothing to jump over the moon about, but I think this is a move that was necessary in terms of improving your pitching, improving your starting rotation, bringing along a veteran presence that can work along with guys like like Turnbull, like Mize, like Manning, the young arms that you have right now in your stock. So I think this was one of their objective moves that they had to do in terms of what they needed to do to upgrade their team as a whole. So I'm fine with it, and it didn't cost too much money either. So you still have some money to play around with whatever move you want to do or make after this, whether it be getting Carlos Correa or whomever, or getting other spare parts and pieces. I'll say this in regards to Eduardo Rodriguez. You know, he was bit of backstory. If you guys can remember all the way back, it was 2014 or so. Dave Dabrowski was still the GM of the Tigers. He was in the sweepstakes of trying to land a deal that would bring Andrew Miller from Cleveland over to here. That got shut down mainly because the Orioles had themselves a prospect that they could deliver on their end of the deal that the Tigers could not. His name was Eduardo Rodriguez. Fast forward about 5 years later, he's playing at some of his absolute best level ball with the Boston Red Sox, has a solid season. He finishes sixth in Cy Young voting. And then the very next year, problems began for him. He catches COVID. Whether or not it was there before or was rather exasperated furthermore by him catching COVID. Either way, he develops a heart condition, myocardosis or something to that effect. The name escapes me.
Myocarditis.
Myocarditis. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
He develops that. I don't know if that played an issue or played a part of him getting his season shut down, or if it's something he has had to work himself back from into the proper condition and shape. But I do know it is something that he's been dealing with ever since we knew of his COVID diagnosis first. So between all that and the fact that he missed 2020 with not just COVID but also other injuries and issues, he had to work himself back up to form, back in the shape. And no, he wasn't his usual strong self this year. He still got valuable time when it matters most. And he was crucial to the Red Sox in terms of their march towards the playoffs this year. So all in all, I would consider that a good thing and a good signing, especially consider the fact that you are signing him at about what, 14, 15 million a year tops. That's still less money, believe it or not, than what the Red Sox had offered him on his qualifying offer. So for him to reject that and to sign here for less money, I don't know if that says something about him wanting to play for AJ Hinch or some other issue or whatever reason it was. But I'm glad he took it. I'm glad he's here. So between the moves that you made to take care of your cash situation, you got that done. Now you've somewhat taken care of your of an issue of finding a veteran pitcher for your starting rotation. You got that done. Now let's see what else you can do. Namely, yeah, you would hope to get at least one of these shortstops that is available right now. I also wouldn't mind taking a look into that outfield. I know that's got some patching up to do as well. So again, my grade for the Eduardo Rodriguez signing is a B, but it's a solid B for me.
All right. Mid-range B, says Ed. Frank, what is your grade on Eduardo Rodriguez?
Well, I have to be careful not to let the fact that Chris Ilitch was willing to spend some money skew my judgment on this, because when I saw that he gave him for the money he did, I was like, wow, that's a really good thing. But I'm actually going to give this a B plus, mostly because Rodriguez is a quality starting pitcher. He's not going to be a front end of the rotation guy, but he's going to be somebody who's going to go out there, get the job done. I know he's had his health issues in the past, and it appears that he has worked his way back from them, minimized all the complications. So I think he's probably right now, I would say maybe third starter at best, probably four, somewhere around there. They're lefty who can definitely go and do some work, get some strikeouts, and not get shelled. So I give this a B plus. I mean, I'm interested to see how it does down the line once the season gets started, and hopefully they add somebody else like Carlos Correa to the mix as well. I mean, from what I've heard, it sounds like Correa is interested in the Tigers, given the fact that, I mean, I don't mean to jump the gun on you guys, but he and AJ Hinch did have breakfast and lunch together the other day, and we're talking for hours, so maybe there's some traction there between the two parties. And of course, with the talk that the Yankees, who were, I think, the other team rumored to be on the Correa sweepstakes, they seemingly are in on Corey Seager a lot more. That might give you some hope that there could be some possibility that Correa does sign here, but nothing's official until the pen is put to the paper.
Yep. And we're going to keep our eyes on Carlos Correa as well. So that's our What's Your Great segment. So again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. So that's Tigers. The Lions, they lose to the Browns 13-10 in Cleveland, and they stay winless. Of course, they're the only team in the NFL to stay winless thus far this season, which means they are still in line for that first overall draft pick next year in the NFL draft. But let me analyze the game before we go to Ed and then Frank. Too many penalties by the secondary defense, especially in the first half. The offense, as usual, did not make enough plays. Tim Boyle at quarterback, the starter for Jared Goff, who was out with an oblique injury. And the offense made 0 trips to the red zone. 0. So, well, also Dan Campbell kept sticking to the run game on 3rd down and long. And I just don't know why. And Dan Campbell isn't very smart. And like Frank pointed out, Dan Campbell was in the post-game press conference trying to tell the media that the Lions need to be more aggressive after after the Lions kept punting the ball way too many times and stuff like that, and this and that. But still, we'll go to Ed first, and then we'll go to Frank. So, Ed, Lions, the Browns actually played down a competition, but the Lions still did not want this game. So, Ed, it's okay. It's your turn. Yep. So, Ed, go right ahead. You're muted.
Hello.
Yep.
We're good?
Yep, we're good. Yep.
Okay. Now, in terms of the Lions, I think I could disagree slightly, saying about they probably didn't want it as bad as Cleveland did. I think their defense certainly wanted it the way they played for a majority of this game. It's not their
Yeah, their
fault.
defensive line did. Yeah.
Yeah, their defensive line, I think their defense in general, because they were making some plays out there. Excuse me. But their offense was, as usual, atrocious. And you can't even scapegoat or blame Jared Goff for this one, because he injured himself last week, so much so that he's not even able to play this week, which makes me wonder if Dan Campbell knew that Goff was hurt last week, why in the world did he keep throwing him out there instead of benching him? But I digress. Tim Boyle, I'll say this, he wasn't, well, no, let me backstep real quick. He was as bad as I thought he was going to be, but it was just so disappointing more than it was infuriating or depressing, because there were just simple throws or simple plays being drawn up where I thought, okay, it's like we get it, it's your first start, but you got to show more oomph than that. You can't be making plays or thinking this is going to be the best design for you and your team in terms of trying to make big chunk or score, because it's a giveaway especially when you keep running it on third down and third and longs. That lets you know, okay, you do not have confidence in this quarterback at all. And by the way, that's on y'all, the front office, for not taking care of the situation when you had the shot. I'm talking about well long ago. Okay, this is when you still had Stafford. You have not had a viable backup quarterback since what? Maybe Sean Hill, and how many years ago that long was. So the David Blows and the Chase Daniels, and now the Tim Boyles and all that, it just has not worked out. And when you bring in someone like Goff, who I don't know what it is or what it was that has him so shell shocked this year, but when he has been performing as bad as he has been this season, and your backup QB situation is akin to the Tigers farm system in the late stages of the Dave Dombrowski era, I don't know what to tell you about other than you need to get an improvement somehow, some way. I mean, I could go on and on about saying you had a chance to sign Cam Newton, that and you let that pass you by. You had a chance to take Justin Fields potentially in this draft, but I get it. You want to build the offensive line. If that's the case, what are we having second guesses? Maybe you should have taken Tua last year. I'm just trying to think of a reason, because we know the problems and the holes and the weaknesses that this team has, and they got to adjust them and they got to akin to them and fix them one by one. But the quarterback problem is so glaringly obvious that they may have no other choice to spend one of their top draft picks in this upcoming draft, a draft that has no viable QB prospects that jump out you, that make you go, wow. There's none of those in this upcoming draft this year. So what are the Lions going to do? What are we have to force our fans to sit through another agonizing, brutal year of god-awful quarterback play? Thank goodness DeAndre Swift was running the way he was. Thank goodness the defensive line was getting after Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, was probably dealing with his own myriad of injuries. And I'm surprised that Cleveland kept him in the game as long as they did, because, you got no OBJ, you traded him. Baker's already been hurt. Jarvis Landry gets hurt midway through the game. This seemed like another opportunity where the football gods were trying to get the Lions, hey, listen, this is a win for you. You're getting interceptions. You're getting momentum. You're getting three and out stops. You finally got a touchdown with Swift, and you came back out and got a defensive stop. And then you did nothing with the ball. No efficient or effective play calling, nothing innovative. And you what? 3 and out, get the ball right back. And then, of course, the Browns finally do the smart thing, give the ball to Nick Chubb and run it down your throats until the clock gets wind out. So I don't know if there needs to be a kumbaya between Dan Campbell and Anthony Lynn about the play calling. I don't know if Anthony Lynn's going to have a job after this season. I just don't know what it is that needs to be done, but something has to be done, because this is pathetic. And you mean to tell me that we're going to be able to getting ready to watch this in 4 days on a national audience on Thanksgiving? Give me a friggin' break.
I know, right? Yeah, and this Thanksgiving Day game is at 12:30 on Fox against the Chicago Bears, but we'll get to that momentarily. We'll get to that next. But Frank, seriously, the Lions offense, again, could not make plays. Frank, go ahead.
And look, I'm going to preface this by saying I have tried my damnedest to be patient with Dan Campbell, realizing that he got handed the equivalent of a fast food restaurant that was filled with feces all over the place in terms of offensive talent. Well, you know what? You still have to put those players in the best position possible to win the game. As Herm Edwards once said, you play to win the game. Kicking a field goal down 6 when you need a touchdown late, hey, that doesn't cut it. Running a draw play on 3rd and 14, no. You have to have your backups ready to make plays to win. I don't care that Tim Boyle is awful. You have to put him in a position. He's got guys to throw to. Where's TJ Hawkinson? Where's Amon-Ra St. Brown? Hell, he could throw the ball to DeAndre Swift out of the backfield as well. I mean, I've seen other teams do that too. but you have to put him in a position to win. And this is 2 weeks in a row that it hasn't happened. And I'll just say this, Campbell's skating on very thin ice. I'm already about ready to tell Anthony Lynn to go kick rocks and get the hell out of here because he is horrible as a play caller. But a lot of it falls on Campbell for because it's his game plan. He's got to get guys ready. It falls squarely on him. And it's probably going to be just as much, if not more, of a disaster on Thanksgiving when the Chicago Bears come to town. But we'll get into that next, won't we?
In fact, we'll get to that right now. Bears at Lions on Thanksgiving Thursday, 12:30 on Fox. I'm going to listen to it on the radio, of course. Even Dan Miller was criticizing the Lions, especially on that with the defensive line. They missed an opportunity to make a play on 3rd down and 4. I think it was in the second quarter. And the Browns got a 14-yard, 13-yard pickup or something like that. Man. Dan Miller was pointing out that the Lions had a chance to get off the field. But anyway, let's go to the Bears-Lions Thanksgiving game with a Viget analysis and scoring prediction. Ed, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, go ahead.
Viga predicted score. I don't care. At least they're not going to go 0-17. This team has pissed me off far too many times this year. I don't care that you got Andy Dalton in there instead of Justin Fields, who may not be able to play because of a rib injury. I don't care. Our QB situation is trash. We cannot find an effective way to score the ball, even if our defense steps up one of these weeks and performs, like they did this week. And I guess whether or not there is or there are not clashes between or even now strife between our own coaches, it's just an all-around mess. So if I'm Sheila Ford, I don't show my face anywhere near Ford Field on Thursday, because if they will, the fans may want to start a riot. So bigger predicted score, Bears 30, Lions 7. I'm so tired of this team. Moving on, please.
Yes. Let's move on. But we got to get Frank's Viget analysis and scoring prediction. Frank, you're up next, and then I'll range it.
Well, for my Viget analysis and scoring prediction, look, I know the Bears are probably not going to have Justin Fields available, so I guess that means Andy Dalton will start. But it sounds like Tim Boyle's going to start for the Lions. So, you know what? I'm just going to go Bears 31, Lions 6. And look, I don't think the Ford family shows their faces as well. They may just go sit in some quiet back room at Ford Field, have their Thanksgiving dinner.
Because they're lazy and they don't care.
That's all right. Yeah, it is all right, Sheila.
Yeah.
Thank you for finding that it's all right drop, Taylor. Let's keep that.
Lions
please.
Fans!
Oh, man.
I was about to say that. I thought,
yeah, we remember her speech in week 3 at halftime.
That's all right.
Very well done, Ed. Props to you.
Yep. I'm going to go Bears 27, the Lions 10. I still think DeAndre Swift will get a running touchdown from somewhere, but the Lions will again wind up with 10 points again, like they did earlier today in Cleveland. So Bears 27, Lions 10. I'm taking the under on the Viget mobile app on Thanksgiving. And that is our Viget analysis and scoring prediction for the Lions and Bears, sponsored by the Viget Sports mobile app, where great fans cover. Referral code Stables. The Red Wings lose to the 2-13-2 Arizona Coyotes, 2-1 in overtime at Gila River Arena. Dylan Larkin scored the only goal, and he was trying to carry his team on his back. And now the Red Wings have faltered, and you can't blame the road trip. The Red Wings have played like absolute crap against the Stars, against the Vegas Golden Knights, and it's water's just finding its level finally with Jeff Trashill. So Ed, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, it was only a matter of time after false hope.
It seems that way. I mean, let's think about this. You followed up the win against the Montreal Canadiens with a performance in Columbus where, you look to be on the verge. You're up by one, then you blow in the third period. Dylan Larkin was upset post game, saying, we got to do better. We're going to show up. We're going to use this to light a fire underneath us, something to that effect. And then they go on and lose their next 3 games, giving up a total of 12 goals while managing to come up with only 5. Nice. Good job showing up, guys. It doesn't help when you're putting yourself in bad spots, your defense not being in the right position, not getting effective scoring chances, whatever the case may be. Something is not clicked. I get it. This is a game where everything ebbs and flows. Who knows? Knowing this team, they may go out and win 3 of the next 4 next week, and we'll forget about this because that's how this league goes nowadays. Unless you are absolutely at the top or at the bottom, this is where you're going to be at near the middle. Being that mediocre yo-yo effect, and that's what the Red Wings currently find themselves trying to attain that status as. It comes down to schedule, yes, but it also comes down to your players got to be able to perform it better than what they've been doing. And aside from what I've been liking from Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin, not so much outside of that. Got to be honest with you. I mean, it doesn't help when one of your other young stars is willingly taking himself out of certain games because of his certain personal choices, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, you got to fix this. You got to fix this. You got to turn it around quickly because, I don't know if the fans are going to want to be attentive or patient for this, considering the fact that you got, 5 of your next 6 at home. So if you start stinging the joint up there, you're going to be hearing the boo birds loud and clear.
Yeah, and that's saying something right there. Frank, your thoughts on the Red Wings in a slump?
Look, I will commend Dylan Larkin for trying to put the team on his back, showing that he's the captain and the leader. I like that. I like what I've seen on Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider. The rest of the team, I'm getting tired of them basically turning to those guys and saying, "Help us! We don't know what we're doing out here." You've dropped 3 straight games, and plus you dropped one of the worst team in the league. I know I've said this before, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it again. If Jeff Blashill's ass isn't in the jackpot by now, it damn well had better be if this crap keeps up. I know people have said, "Oh, he needs talent." Newsflash, he has talent now, and he's still not winning. Steve, are you paying attention? Hello? It's time to make a change. Give Tanguay a shot at running the show, because it's evident that Jeff Blashill, or Trashill as we like to refer to him, is not cut out to be an NHL head coach. End of story. Drops
Period.
microphone.
Yeah. Drops the microphone. Period. Yeah. Both. So that's the Red Wings. So let's preview the game right now. Ohio State number 2 at number 6 Michigan, Saturday at noon on Fox. We're going to go ahead and start with Ed with his analysis on Michigan and Ohio State, and Frank will follow right up. Ed, go right ahead with a Viget analysis and scoring prediction.
Oh boy! Once again, it comes. If you would have told me a year ago, after the disaster of a season that Michigan had, going 2-4, COVID-shortened year, absolute flame job all around, right? If you had told me at that point that 1 year from now you will be going into the game against Ohio State 10-1, with that loss being a on-the-road single-digit loss to a top 10 MSU team, and now you tell me that because of MSU's own incompetence of not being able to get out of their own way, you now have a shot to win the Big Ten East Division and go to Indy to play for a Big Ten title, possibly a Rose Bowl, possibly a college football playoff spot. If you had told me any of that a year ago, I would have said, get the hell out of my face. What are you offering? What are you even smoking? But seeing it now come to fruition, seeing how the team has performed, seeing how the defense, particularly the defensive line, has been, in my view, the heart and soul of this team. Guys like David Ojabo, guys like Aiden Hutchinson being the anchors for this team. You're seeing it shown and replicate itself throughout the course of other players, whether it be DJ Turner, who got himself a pick six, Dax Hill, who's been proving himself all year. Even on the offense now, I think Hassan Haskins, who himself got himself 1,000 yards on the ground for this season with his performance on Saturday. Good on him, especially with how he stepped up with Blake Corum getting injured when he did. How about Donovan Edwards now making himself into a viable weapon, a potential X factor? How about the play they did on special teams? The trick play to AJ Hemming, excuse me, and he took it all the way. I think those are variables and factors of examples of how proud you are that what you've been through, what you have done so far this year, but also examples of what you need to do in order to win this game, because everything is all on the table. Throw out the records, throw out all the BS and everything. Everything comes down to what you have to do in this game. You have to pull out all of the stops. If you're Jim Harbaugh, I don't care. If you got to pull out a trick play, do it. If you got to do out a fake punt, do it. You got to use Donovan Edwards, do it. You got to use JJ McCarthy every other snap, do it. Do whatever you can to put your team in the best spots to win, to score points, and to win. Because I got to say, I think I would like to say that this defense is motivated, knowing that the last couple times they played this team, they've gotten motorboated. But I don't know. I think it's still going to come down to what can the Michigan offense do to keep up with Ohio State? Because we clearly saw the evidence this past Saturday against Michigan State in Columbus. They got no worries. Forget about everything that you heard about that loss to Oregon, which, by the way, is funnier now since they just lost to Utah themselves. Ohio State is back, okay, and they are pissed off, and they've been looking to take that out on the rest of the, on everyone else that they had in their way, in their path since that Oregon loss. So now it's Michigan's turn to step up to the test and see what they can do. What can they bring? I like Cade McNamara's confidence. I think it's been growing more and more. But, do you have the confidence that he can go in there and win you the game the way we saw C.J. Stroud dice it up against Michigan State? I mean, Cade, he can play, but it's not the consistency that we have seen so far from Ohio State so far this year. So knowing all of that, it's going to be tough to see Michigan, I think, come out with the victory, not just with the history of the rivalry, the way it's been so far this century, but just look at the teams on paper. Ohio State is head and shoulders above everyone else in the Big Ten for a reason. They've had this high ranking since the preseason for a reason, because they're that damn good of a football team. If you take out the loss to Oregon, they're undefeated right now. They probably got a shot being ranked number one. That's how damn good they've been. And with Michigan, if you catch a break here and two, a flag that goes your way, a lucky bounce, turnovers, that sort of thing, you would be very well advised to jump on them and take advantage of them. Otherwise, you're just giving away golden opportunities, and you're giving Ohio State chances to pull further and further away from you. I do not have the spread in front of me right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ohio State.
Is a 7-point favorite.
Wow, just a touchdown. Now, is that how it opened, or has it been climbing?
I think that's how it opened. I suspect it's going to change at some point during the week.
I would say if the spread is close. 8.5, I think Michigan will do whatever it takes to keep it close. I would have more confidence in that. If the spread is coming out at 9.5, 10, and I'm thinking, okay, Vegas may know something that we don't. But knowing all of that, you know what? The hell with it. I don't care. Throw everything out the book. I wanted to beat this damn team. I don't care how. I don't care by nook, by crook, by hook, whatever. Get the job done. Win the damn game. Let's go to Indy and let's do this. My bigger predicted score, Michigan 38, Ohio State 35. Let's go. Go blue, baby. Don't care. Going down with the ship.
All right. Well, it's at home in Ann Arbor at the Big House. Frank, your big analysis and scoring prediction. Help me out here.
Well, Ed, you're probably about the only Michigan fan who I'll trust analysis from on this because you give it to out straight, no chaser. And look, Michigan's got an opportunity. They've worked for this. They've played for this. There's been times where they could have just folded up the tent and said, we can't do anything. They haven't. Kind of alluding back to the Maryland game. They showed they took care of business. They weren't going to look ahead. Did they do a little bit too much? I mean, the trick play on the kickoff return, I would have waited and then spring that on Ohio State because now they know that that's going to be coming because that's on film now. I do like that they utilize Donovan Edwards more, especially with Blake Corum out. So there's that. And Cade McNamara, the guy has just been playing balls out. He's going to have to do that on Saturday against the Buckeyes. As an Ed, I do disagree with you. You can't be putting J.J. McCarthy in because that's going to disrupt the rhythm, and that's just going to cause you to get boat raced. That said, I know it's a 7-point spread. And of course, we'll have to see where it goes during the season. I know Michigan gets a lot of bets in Vegas, but that aside, I think Ohio State just has too much firepower on offense. I mean, look, C.J. Stroud, phenomenal quarterback, but look who he's got lining up at receiver. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. All three of those guys I could see going in the first round of the NFL draft. Jeremy Ruckert, a tight end, who I think is really good as well. And Travion Henderson, a running back. And I know this isn't a vintage Ohio State defense, but you know, they have seemingly been playing with an edge since losing Oregon. Especially, I mean, I'll kind of quote Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. After that loss, I said, and I took that personally. That's kind of spread throughout the team. They're on a mission. And I've said this before. Ohio State's not just satisfied with beating Michigan. They want blood. That was evident with what they did to my Spartans on Saturday. And I think it's just going to continue. I don't foresee this being a 50-point blowout because, for one, Michigan's going to throw everything they have, or at least they should. But I'm not one to jump in front of a moving train. I'm going to say Ohio State 45, Michigan 31. They're going to go down swinging. It's going to be close for the most part, but I just think they're going to run out of gas and Ohio State wins. Sorry, Ed.
We're just being realistic here, and that's what we do here.
Oh, trust me, I know. I was kind of somewhat halfway joking when I threw that out anyway to begin with, but I know the realism. I know the reality that may lie, that may await.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to predict a closer one, but I'm still going to predict Ohio State to win. I'm going to go Ohio State Buckeyes 42 and Michigan Wolverines 38. I know both defenses are going to be overpowered by the each offenses, and I know Aiden Hutchinson will be there to experience, of course, the Buckeyes' powerful, high-octane offense. Go ahead.
If I may add something, Ed, would you agree with me? This is a game where you need not just Aiden Hutchinson, but David Ajabo. They need to have games of their careers here.
Oh, God, yes, absolutely.
You can't give C.J. Stroud any time or else he's going to eat you for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack.
No, he's going to have him. If you give him time in the pocket, he will Basically, carve you up like a post-Thanksgiving turkey. He'll be feasting on turkey leftovers if you give him time to throw on you.
Yeah. But still, Ohio State, I predict 42-38. So that's my big analysis and scoring prediction. Aiden Hutchinson will be there. Ojaba, they'll have to bring it like Frank pointed out. And the Buckeyes defense will still be too much, but Michigan's offense will be there. Will keep it close too. So that's our big analysis and scoring prediction for Michigan and Ohio State in Ann Arbor, Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox. And of course, we don't even need to recap too much of Ohio State crushing Michigan State 56-7. To be honest, Michigan State just played like crap. I know the Buckeyes' offense being too powerful, but my gosh, Peyton Thorne and his offense was a mess. Period.
I can't really blame them. I think it was just a bad situation. No matter who was playing that team that weekend in that stadium, senior day, the week before Michigan, wanted to prove a statement, a point to the playoff committee. I don't care who's facing you, who they're facing, that team was going to get trucked. It just happened to be Michigan State. You should still be proud. I mean, for goodness sakes, they came into this season expecting 6-7 wins, and then here they were coming down to the second to last weekend of the season, of the regular season at least, with a chance to play for the Big Ten championship on the line. After having already beaten Michigan, you still take it. And with Mel Tucker, I don't know. Can't remember correctly if the deal is done or not, or close to being finalized. But props to him getting that 10-year extension, especially securing the bag, becoming the highest paid Black coach in all of sports. It is quite an honor, quite a achievement for him. I think an achievement for Michigan State in the sense of you had to pay this guy when you had to pay him now. Otherwise, you leave that door open for someone else to potentially try to sneak him away. I'm not saying LSU. I'm saying Michigan State did what they had to do. You say it was an overpay, maybe, but it's called they wanted to lock down and keep the guy that they wanted now and for long term. I don't blame him for doing that. I would have done the same thing. So knowing all that, yes, you got your asses kicked by Ohio State. Welcome to the club. They do that to everybody. Group up, saddle back up, take care of business against this Penn State team, which, in my opinion, should be firing James Franklin as soon as the game is over on Saturday, and finishing up this season as strong as possible with renewed focus and goals on wanting to take that next step to the next level next year.
Yep, absolutely. So, Frank, have any? Yeah, you don't have many thoughts on that route, do you?
Well, as for the game, I'll just say, Michigan State just got their ass kicked, and Ohio State was just on another planet that day. Hey, that's really all I can say. And look, as for Mel Tucker getting his contract extension, did they give him a little bit too much more than I would have liked to? Yeah, but you either got to pay your coach or you're finding a new one. It's as simple as that. And I think he's earned the right to be extended and get paid. And I don't think he's going to, while he is the second highest paid coach, only behind Nick Saban, I don't think he's going to be there for long, because there's going to be other coaches that they're going to get extensions too, and they're going to want that type of money. So, props to Matt Ishbia and Steve St. Andre and all the boosters and donors for saying, hey, we'll pay up, make sure this happens, because we want a seat at the big boy table. And granted, didn't start off well, but sometimes you just need a good ass whooping to learn from where you need to go. And like Mel Tucker said, we're going to keep chopping and be back at it at Penn State, which we're going to talk about next.
Yep, Penn State at Michigan State Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. That's the kickoff, and we're gonna preview that with the Viget predicted scoring. Viget analysis and scoring prediction. Ed, you're up first, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, go right ahead.
The horrible loss notwithstanding, this is still a prime time for Michigan State to finish up with 10 wins on the season. It's senior day. It's at home. Um, I am expecting a tough, close one because Penn State is way better than what the record indicates. You saw how they played against Michigan. You saw how they played against Ohio State. They have the capability to keep you on your heels all game, if not put you in a scare. So, depending on which version of Sean Clifford shows up, that will keep the game close. But I expect Kenneth Walker to have a bounce back, if you want to call it that, a bounce back performance. Uh, finish up strong against the home crowd, and really end the season with a bang, so to speak. So, bigger predicted score for me is going to be Michigan State 28, Penn State 10.
All right. Yeah, Michigan State's defense will get back on its horse. The entire team will get back on its horse. Frank, your analysis and scoring prediction brought to you by Viget.
My Viget analysis and scoring prediction is going to be similar to you guys. I think Michigan State will bounce back. Heck, Mel Tucker will have the guys ready. They'll forget about that bad loss to Ohio State. Now, Penn State, I mean, look, it depends which version of Sean Clifford shows up and if they can control Jahan Dotson, their wide receiver. I know their best running back, Noah Kane, has been out for the year with an injury. And plus, Penn State's got a pretty good defense as well. Tariq Castro Fields, probably their best player on defense. I know they're missing a couple of defensive linemen. I think PJ Mustipher is one guy who was injured. But, these guys are kind of desperate too because I think they're better than what the record shows. But that's mostly because, like I said before, James Franklin is a boob of a head coach. I think he's an idiot, and I think he's cost them a lot of games with questionable decisions. And I think that's going to show its ugly head again, and Michigan State will pounce and take advantage. So I'm actually going to go a lot closer in this one. I'll say Michigan State wins it. We'll say 31-27. Late touchdown from Kenneth Walker after he puts another 200-yard performance and 3 touchdowns. We'll go as far as to say that. So 31-27, Michigan State wins.
All right. I'm going to go 35-17 to kind of range it here. Michigan State will take good care of Penn State, but not by a rout. But still, their secondary defense needs to keep on learning how to cover opposing wide receivers. But Penn State won't get much going. Like I said, James Franklin is awful as a head coach, and Michigan State's got plenty of offense, including Kenneth Walker, Jalen Reed, of course. Yeah, even without Jalen Naylor, the Spartans still have plenty of offense remaining to close out their regular season, probably at 10-2. So that's our last Viget analysis and scoring prediction. Michigan men's basketball lost to Seton Hall last week at home, unranked Seton Hall, those Pirates. But Michigan got back on its horsemen, but now they're trailing Arizona 19-18, 8:04 left in the first half at the Roman Main Event Championship. I think that was the first round of that specialty tournament. So, Ed, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, how much? How low do you think Michigan men's basketball will drop?
Well, it shouldn't be too far. I'd probably say no lower than 7 or so, especially if they can finish up well and get this dub here against Arizona. But I don't know. It depends. I think their lack of free throw shooting definitely came back and bit them in the worst way here against Seton Hall. Hopefully, they use that as a learning experience moment for them.
Also,
on what
20% from 3.
Yeah, that's not going to help matters too. But any team can have an off night. The free throw shooting has been a constant problem for them for a while now, and I need to see them rectify that quickly. Because as you can see against Seton Hall, it cost you, and you don't want that to be potential, issue that pops up come, let's say, conference season or tournament time. So you want to nip that in the bud as quickly as possible, and on to the next one.
Yeah. Frank, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, I've said it before because I help coach high school basketball. Free throws can win and lose you a game. That's why they're important to hit. So, but I'm sure Juwan Howard's having the guys work on it. I mean, I don't know what Michigan does for free throw conditioning drills, but I'm sure he hammered it really hard. I do know they took care of business against UNLV the other night. So, see what they do against Arizona and just keep on trucking. It's a long season ahead. You might lose a game or two here and there. You just learn from your losses and bounce back. You're on to the next one.
All right. So that's all the teams we have covered for tonight. Michigan State basketball, of course, doing their thing, beating Western Michigan. And that's that. So the What We've Learned segment. What I've learned, every time the Lions lose a game, I still catch tweets from people from everywhere else in this country about how bad luck affected their games. Those people don't even watch the games we cover. Therefore, they have no proof or valid points whatsoever. Enough of the BS already. Just be more, watch the game, be more realistic. Otherwise, F off. That's all I'm going to say. Ed, you're up next, and then we'll go to Frank. Ed, what did you learn?
I learned that no matter who the starting quarterback is for the Lions, the situation has been failed completely, whether it be by front office, whether it be by coaching, whatever the case may be. It is a black hole at that spot, and they may have to take drastic steps to improve upon that more rapidly than they would want to. My other thoughts would be that the Pistons and the Red Wings still have some baby steps to go through in terms of proper development, in terms of knowing how to close out games with their young teams. And also, like I said, Michigan, it's on the line out there for you right now. Go out there, put it on the table, leave nothing to chance, take advantage, take control of your own story, finish it the way you want to finish it. That's all I got to say. Beat Ohio State. Go Blue.
Yep. And by the way, may I add, Jeff Blashill is still the head coach, and Waters finally finding its level with him, with all the talent that Frank Badger pointed out that Blashill has on the table that Eisman offered him. And Frank, he ran it about that. So Frank, follow caboose it. What did you learn?
What I've learned, I'm going to piggyback off a little bit of what Ed said about Michigan and Ohio State. I mean, look, Jim Harbaugh's gotten the team in position to win and get to Indy. Well, you know what? Now's your chance. As a wise man once said, it's nut up or shut up time, Jimmy. So you better win. And if you don't, you got nobody to blame but yourself. There's no excuses. No blaming the officials. No blaming field conditions. No blaming anybody else. Either win or keep your mouth shut and take your L. Simple as that. You got a chance. Finish the job.
Yeah, because otherwise, if Jim Harbaugh keeps on deflecting criticism, then we've really had enough. So that's what we've learned, and that's our show. That's our episode, and that's our episode tonight. Before we go, this show is sponsored by the Viget Sports mobile app, where great fans cover. Use the hashtag #GreatFansCover to support the mobile app. Download it on your phone from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Sign up and type in the referral code STABLES with a capital S and the rest of the letters being lowercase, including the letter B in the middle as in billionaire. Also, a shout out to Cali Tickets. Visit CaliTickets.com or call 877-225-8425. That's 877-225-8425 to purchase a ticket to one of their featured events. And a personal shout out goes to my new girlfriend, Stacy Crawford, for watching and listening to us on Stables Media on the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Stacy, if you're hearing me, I love you. Gentlemen, excellent job as always. Our next episode is Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Stables Media, on Facebook as Stables Media in one word, and on YouTube, Stables Media. Subscribe to their channel, and on Twitter at Michigan_Truth. For Ed and Frank, I'm Taylor Phillips. Until then, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DT2Phillips. Follow Ed Smith on Twitter and Instagram at EdSmith313. And follow Frank Vasner on Twitter and Instagram at Frank_Vasner, VAJCNER. And follow our show, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, on Twitter and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Like it on Facebook as the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast and follow it on LinkedIn. Thanks very much for watching, listening, downloading, and sharing. And remember, the truth is out there. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Power to the people. We hit them. Power to the people. Hit them with a high. We hit them with a high. We rest our case. Stay safe and stay out of trouble.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.